Hey, y'all. It is charismacares, nurse practitioner. Let me get my Bluetooth here. It has been a minute since I've gone live. I think it was probably last year that I went live. And welcome to 2025. I guess we're restarting this in February since January lasted forever. It seemed to be a crapshoot. Uh, so we're gonna start this 2025 over. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to talk about this whirlwind we've been going through between the political stuff, which is causing some mental stuff, some stress. It's causing some physical issues. And of course, if it has not caused financial issues to you yet, it's probably going to cause financial issues for us in the future because of everything that's going on. And, people ask me, what do you think, with me being in Kenya right now? They say to me, what is it that you think, what do you think about everything that's going on in the US? And I'm like, I'm scared to be in the US right now. The US is a mess. Um, and I normally come back every year. I do sometime here in Kenya, sometime in the US. And this is probably going to be the first year that I don't come back. Having a child with a disability, the last place I want to come back to is a place that's not accepting to minorities, Black boys, and disabilities, as well as women and Black women. And it's very unfortunate because this is my home. But right now, I just don't feel like it's a very accepting place. It's not, it's funny in Africa, I keep saying things right. In Africa, I hear people say, well, why did you leave the US? Why don't you go back? I want to go to the US so badly. And, I have to explain to them that you want to go to the US that it was 10 years ago. Unfortunately, you missed the boat, no pun intended, since we were sent over on a boat. But you missed it. You missed the boat. You missed when America was glitter and glam. You miss when you can get in here and just do some hard work and make it. Buy a house, buy a car, start a family, and it was affordable. And this is even before the current president. Like America has been losing its affordability, especially since COVID, particularly since COVID. So over the last 5 years, we've seen America change. So I tell people this is not the America that you want. This is not the America that you dream of. It's not the one where immigrants come and make their dreams come true. Hell, it's hard enough for Americans to make their dreams come true at this point because there's been so much going on and so many changes. So it's something that let me pull up my chat because I'm streaming on multiple channels. Hey there, hey Angela. Um, so it's not something that is really a dream. Like the American dream, I don't know that it is there anymore. When initially made my descent, because I've left and come back many times, I had achieved the American dream that I'm aware of. I had achieved the money, I had the houses, I had cars, I had a great job. I probably worked 20 to 30 hours a week, to be very honest with you. So I had achieved that American dream, but I still desired more, which is how I ended up leaving. That desire to oops, sorry, that desire to have more and the desire to give my kids more. For those of you that don't know, let me see. Okay. Hold on. I got a call that's stopping my live, so I want to make sure I'm still on here. There we go. Sorry. So, for those of you that don't know, that may be new to following me, when I started this journey, YouTube just sent me something and they were like, here's your 3 year anniversary on YouTube. And I had no idea I had been on YouTube for 3 years. But when I started this, my daughter was just graduating high school. My son was in elementary school and I desire to have a better life. My son has a lower life expectancy with his issues. He has KIF1A, which is a genetic disorder, and so he has a lower life expectancy. It's not something that I claim, but it's something that I've been told. And my desire was to get my daughter in college because living abroad wasn't something she wanted to do. And my desire was to give him a life. The way I see the world is you go to school, you get your dream job, you get married, you have children. And for him, I didn't think that it would progress that way. So I gave my daughter what she needed to do. She's in college currently, and for my son, I just felt like I needed to give him the world. I needed to flip flop what we do when we, get married, have children, and then live our lives. So I decided to flip flop that, and I was like, well, you can learn anywhere, right? Because with COVID, I had to start teaching anyway. And I said, let's turn that around. And for me, for a lot of people in COVID, it was, I need to now do this and this and this. But this was something that I actually started dreaming of before that. My daughter knew 4 year when she was in ninth grade that I wanted to do this. My mom knew, she would laugh at me when I told her I wanted to retire by 40. And she was like, Charisma, nobody retires at 40. And I was like, well, this is for the birds. I'm not about to do this my whole life. So I started making plans, and that's how I got into real estate and started investing. I have a rental right now, corporate rental that makes thousands a month, and I'm looking at actually doing some investments here in Kenya. Then I opened up this holistic clinic. So there's been multiple things um, that I've been doing and that's going on. Um, and it's been, it started as a slow start, and over the years, it's progressed and it's gotten better. My clinic, I'm just launching it, and I'm starting to get Black women that feel like they need help and they want to really do something with their mental health. And that's a mission for me. That's not a job. Whereas before, I was at a job, and yeah, Dr. Farq, how do you say that? I never knew that. He said he retired at 32. So it's definitely possible. You just have to put your mind to it. Um, and it's something that I did. I actually accomplished, and I still do some work. I'm not going to tell do any work. I manage my properties from abroad. I do my clinic, which I feel like is my mission. And right now, with everything going on in the world, because there's so much going on in the US, but there's even things going on in Kenya. And, it's like, where do we find our safe space, right? Because you said you're following my lead. Thank you. Where is the safe space? I don't know that for people of color, that there is a safe space right now. What can you depend on? Because the thing is, there used to be a time that you depended on your job, right? But they're getting rid of, now that they're getting rid of you know what I'm saying, DIA, government jobs aren't even like, they used to be the goal back in the day. You get a government job, you had a cush job, you had your retirement, your pension, all of that. My friends at the embassy are like, no, they are afraid. They're actively looking for jobs. Then you maybe you went and worked for a company, one of these big companies, Target, Coca-Cola, things like that. And they're like, no, that's no longer, they letting us go too. And for those that did not get the memo that the American dream is full of lies, and propaganda, and we have been conditioned to believe that working a 9 to 5 equals security. And what we're now seeing is those things are not, that does not equal security. You need to find a way to get your bag without the 9 to 5. Even if you have the 9 to 5, you need something else to depend on. Because as you see, the rug can be pulled out from under you at any time. And when it gets pulled out, what are you to do? It sends you in a whirlwind of emotions, physical sensations, all of these different things. It just throws you off. And what do you do? Because this is what you were taught to do. This is what you were supposed to do. This is what they told us in school. It was like, what are you going to do when you grow up? It was never, entrepreneur was never an option, right? They never said, what business are you going to own when you grow up? Like, nobody ever said that. They said, what are you going to do? And what are you going to do, man? Who are you going to work for? What are you going to do working for whomever? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be this. I want to be that. It was never really, I don't ever remember anyone saying, I want to have my own business. I don't ever remember that. And in our community, that wasn't something we really saw. It was where we saw our parents work, 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 work. I mean, my mom is at what we thought was retirement age. And now we're finding out my mom is, it's like she's supposed to retire in a year, and now they push the age another year. And she's like, I can't do it. Yeah, like you're saying, I finally see the older generations work forever. The American dream is a lie. Yes. It's like we did this, and this is what they were told. This is what they thought. And I told my mom, I said, I would retire. I would just take what they gonna give me and go. Because the thing is, what they want you to do, work till you're 70. Like, the lifespan is what, early 80s, maybe 82, 83. I haven't looked at it lately. So if you work until you're 68, you get what, 4 or 5 years to enjoy your life. And when we're looking at enjoying our life, when somebody's in their late 60s, 70s, they have some kind of health issues, whether it's physical health, it's your back, it's your hip, it may be, you got vertigo, you get migraines, you're just getting old, you're stiff, you can't climb this the way that you used to, you can't do these different things. So let me get this straight. We could say we start working at 18 or 21, but most of us started working when we were in high school, right? Because I think my first job was at 15. I remember I worked at Mrs. Winters. I don't even know if Mrs. Winters is around anymore. It was a chicken place. And I was making $5.15 an hour, and I thought I was doing something with $5.15. And y'all, I found out McDonald's was paying $6, and I ran over to McDonald's because, $6, that was a lot. So there are people that started working way before 15, right? So if we really think about this, we are supposed to work from 15 to 68, 67 and a half. Like, if that's not the biggest BS I've ever heard or seen in my life, like, if we really think about that, you really saying, like, we are supposed to work 20, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 20, what, 70, 50 years? 50 years we're supposed to work? Like, You got to be kidding me. 40, 50 years or until you die. I had a friend whose coworker literally worked to his death. He was battling cancer. And this was very recent. This was in January. He was battling cancer, and he had time off for some of his cancer treatment. And then he had to come back to work because you run out of time off, right? He came back to work and he died a week later. He never even made it to retirement. He's in his early 60s. So when we look at the stress that America puts on us to accomplish this American dream, um, I don't know about your timeline, but mine is full of taking flights and taking trips and put the PTO in. But the PTO really stands for I'm going any damn way. I'm just giving you a courtesy notice. And that's because life is short, things are hard. Um, y'all, I'm gonna have to pause. Somebody's at my door. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry about that, y'all. I'm back. So, Angela said, I love that you rewrote the blueprint of how life is supposed to look. And that's the thing, we have to rewrite the blueprint. So I've been listening, I've been doing this Tony Robbins challenge for the last 3 days. Um, and it's been very positive. And some things that were mentioned was thinking about who we are, where we are, and where we want to be. And, one of the things that I thought about was the fact that we can tell everything that we don't want, everything that we dislike or hate about life, right? If you tell somebody, what are all the things you dislike? I can tell you because I'm not going to tell you living overseas is glamour. Living overseas is nice. It's freedom, but there are still challenges. I don't want people to believe that once you leave America, all your challenges leave, right? Because they don't. Because you are now a foreigner in another country. You are the immigrant, and you have to understand what it is to live in their country and what their life is like. You have to integrate into society as a new being. For example, who I am in Kenya is very different than who I am in Dubai. Who I am in Kenya is a very high class, high structured American making great money. I'm considered upper class, right? I go to Dubai, it's a little different. Like I lose my status of being upper class. I now am probably just middle class. I'm back to kind of where I was in the US. Dubai reminds me very much of the US, very much a working culture. But also, I feel like as a Black woman in Dubai, I don't hold nearly as much power as a Black woman here in Kenya. So these are things that when people are like, oh, I want to move abroad, where should I go? I heard this place is good and that place is good. These are things that I help my clients with because I'm like, you need to figure out what you want. You need to figure out the things that you don't want or you don't like because it's different. It's different. And in addition, when we're looking at these things that we're running from, good morning, when we're looking at these things that we're like, we don't want to deal with, when we're leaving our country, we really need to be mindful that wherever you go, there you are, right? So if you were dealing with depression and anxiety in the US, when you move, you still are dealing with depression and anxiety. You still need to work through that. That is still an issue that you have. It will not disappear because when you move to another place, even if you're in the States, if you move from Georgia to California, or you move from Alabama to New York, you are still there. That is still you. Even if you move across the street, that is still you, and you are still dealing with yourself, your mental, your physical. You're still dealing with all of that. So it's important that we know where we are in life, because just to be honest, where are you in life? How do you feel about where you are? Do you feel like you want to get to a better place? Are you comfortable with where you are? Are you comfortable with where you work? Are you comfortable with what you're doing right now? Or are you feeling like, I need to do more in life? I need to do better. I need to get to another level. I am not satisfied. Like for me, I'm a person that makes goals. I'm very much a goal oriented person. And when I turned 30, I realized I had reached a lot of my goals. But I also realized that one of my major goals of becoming a nurse practitioner wasn't goaling for me. I was like, it was something I had written down I wanted to do since I was a teenager. This is what I wanted. And once I did it and I started working as a nurse practitioner, I was like, I wasted, because y'all, I took out loans. So I wasted $30,000 in 2, 3 years of my life to do this. Now, financially, it was a wonderful decision. It took me to my 6-figure point, right? But mentally, I just was like, what is this? What am I doing? I was unhappy. I was working at a clinic in Atlanta. I was also seeing clients in rehab. I've worked in psych. I've worked in so many different areas, but I found that I was still unhappy and I was still questioning and I was still like, I need more. I want more. And people are like around me and like, what more do you need or want? You got everything. Like, what more do you need? And that's why I say that American dream is BS, because even once you achieve it, you're not done. You want more. You need something else out of life. Um, and that's not something we talk about enough. One of the things I can say is that our president has brought up some conversations that have been hidden. It has brought people together. It has divided some people. It's going to do a lot more. And it's going to test you. You're going to find out how weak or how strong you really are. You're going to find out those areas of yourself that really needs to be worked on. You're going to find out some things about some people that you thought were your friends, especially at these jobs. When everybody is on the chopping block, things get real quick. Like it is not, it's not the same. And you need to be mentally and emotionally prepared for that. You need to be prepared for what's coming. You need to be financially prepared. You need to be learning, how can I make some money on the side outside of this 9 to 5 job? Because this 9 to 5 job is not promised. I'm going to tell you all one thing. That 9 to 5 job was never promised. I'm just going to be for real. That government job, all of these jobs that you depend on, they were never promised. They were always there was always a chance that it would be taken away from you at any moment. It's just that chance is greater now. And we're about to go into, you thought inflation was bad before. Not only does inflation affect the US, but everything that's going on is affecting the world globally. And if you are not mentally physically, emotionally, and financially prepared, this shit is about to hit the fan. Um, and it's unfortunate, but the most millionaires are made during depressions. The last Great Depression produced so many millionaires. COVID made so many people money. So, it's one of those things, just knowing, are you prepared? Are you ready to rewrite your story before it's written for you? Are you putting things in place to make sure that you're going to be okay, that your family is going to be okay? With me, I look at a rental in Atlanta. A lot of my customer base is construction. Well, construction's about to be on hold. So what do? I have to flip the script. I have to come up with a new plan, and that's the thing in life. You got to keep planning. You got to keep moving. You got to keep staying ahead. You can't wait. You can't wait around for shit to happen. You got to make things happen. Um, and I just want you to take some time to think about this, because this new world that we're in is going to change some things. And it's probably going to make you or break you. It just depends on how strong you are and how ready you are for what's to come. As I shared with you, I had a life that was in shambles. um, when my son was born, I was basically, when he started doing badly and we were in the hospital all the time, they didn't know what was going on. I was an RN at the time, and I would pick up on things that they wouldn't pick up on. Um, I was actually going through a divorce at the same time while I was trying to figure out what was wrong with my son, in and out the hospital, and still trying to normalize my daughter's life. So, I don't know. I think that depending on the storms that you've been through, some storms just don't seem as heavy, and you learn survival techniques, because I learned to survive. I literally was working. I was dealing with a special needs child, really a sick child that was sick all the time, in and out the hospital. I was taking care of my daughter. I was going through a divorce, and I was in school for my master's degree all at the same time. So I'm used to a storm. I said, if I really think about it, I think I have storms every couple of years. That storm comes in a wave, and you have to learn to ride the wave. And if you don't know how to ride the wave, I want you to DM me, because we're gonna have to ride this wave, and we have to ride this wave together. Depend on other people where you need to look up to the people that can guide you, people that's been where you are, that's been through that storm, so they can help you get ahead of it, put things in place, make sure that you are ready, because this is affecting all of us. And a lot of times we put our mental health behind everything else. Our mental comes last. And then we have a breakdown. And we're like, how do we get out of this? So it's important that we put our mental at the forefront and take care of us, do what we need to do to make sure that we're okay. Um, that's the way we continue to take care of our children and our loved ones, is to take care of us first. And I think this is something I've struggled with, is putting myself first. I never put myself first. I put everybody else ahead of me. Everybody else's emotions ahead of mine. I take on everybody else's stuff. And it begins to drown me. But I just keep on swimming, y'all. I keep on going. I'm not going down, but I take on a lot. And it's hard to set boundaries. I think, especially as a Black woman, very, very hard with these boundaries. But we're learning to set boundaries. You need to set boundaries. You need to prioritize. Make sure you put yourself on that list of priorities. Um, you need to figure out where it is that you want to be mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, spiritually. Where do you want to be? What does that look like? Take time to write that down. Hey, you're Brazilian and a nurse too. That's cool. So take time to write that down. Those are things that are very important. You can't reach for goals if you don't really know what your goals are, right? Um, it's like I want to do this, I want to do that, but you've never even taken time to put pen to paper or to put it on your tablet or your phone. What we find is that when you actually write something down or type it, it goes into the brain and that data is collected. I don't know if you all had the experience when you were in school. You found that when you took the notes, even as you wrote them down, you were able to keep them in your mind and go back and read over them and refresh your memory versus if you just listened and didn't write anything down. And it's because of that brain, that connection from the physical to the mental. There is a connection there. So that's really, really important. Hey there, warm and spicy tea. So yeah, that's really important that you do that. And you prioritize, put yourself first for once. Take care of you. Don't put that job first. That job, I don't know, it may be there, it may not be there. But go ahead and get yourself together. Do what it is that you feel you need to do. Do what it is that in your heart you've always wanted to do. That's the best way to figure out your mission in life, is to really sit down with yourself and dig deep. One of the things that they say is to ask yourself why. And then once you answer why, ask yourself why again. And then once you answer that, ask yourself why again. Ask yourself why at least 3 times to get down to the real reason. You know, if you want to volunteer at the soup kitchen, why is it that you want to volunteer? I don't even think they call it a soup kitchen anymore. Because I want to give back. Why do you want to give back? Well, because when I was younger, we didn't always have meals to eat. And I hate seeing kids not having food and not knowing where their next meal comes from. That is your why, right? That's your real why. Ask yourself why at least 3 times. Then you will get to the bottom. So when you think about where you want to be, question that within yourself. Ask yourself, why do I want to be here? And then once you answer that, you go why and you why and why again. Because you really need to get to the bottom to figure out your next move. Because a lot of times we just moving and moving. We're playing checkers, but it's time to start playing chess. Like I said, when I left the US, I hadn't just started doing rentals. I had actually started going to seminars and taking courses and working with different people around Atlanta in real estate for a minute. I have been doing it for at least 2, 3 years before COVID. Like, so this wasn't something that was new. I was reading books. I was Millionaire Next Door. I was reading about wholesaling. I was reading about flipping. I was already educating myself when shit hit the fan. So it wasn't like it was one day and then next thing you know, I had rentals and next thing you know, I had money. No, that was not the case. This was some years in the making. So sometimes our dreams, we can't accomplish them right away. We need time to accomplish our goals and our dreams. We need to put things in place. We need to We need to do some stuff to get where we want to be. And for some of us, if we can't get it right away, we don't want it. We just forget all about it. It's just a dream, right? We're just it's reaching for the clouds and the stars. It's not really something that we're gonna do. It's not really feasible. But why is that dream not feasible? Why is it something you want to do is not feasible? Because to me, it seems like if you can dream it, you can write it, you can put steps to it, you can do it, right? But for some people, they just see it as being so far away. And I don't want you to do that this year. This is 2025. We are literally at a quarter of a century. I remember being in high school and them saying in the year 2000, the world is going to shut down. Y'all remember that? Everything's going to shut down. The computer's going to shut down. They can't handle the numbers and the whole world is destroyed. Like, we're like, I don't know if we just thought the world was just gonna blow up. Like we were just that's what we thought when it, turned to that year 2000. Um, and I remember we were all sitting there, doing the countdown, and then we turned on our computers to see if our computers could handle the numbers, like 0101 2000, right? For the culture, yeah. Like I remember actually. Like when you think about it now, that literally was 25 years ago. We are at a quarter of a century. Literally 25 years ago, we just thought the world was gonna end. Like, yes, Y2K. We just thought like just stop. The world was gonna end. I was in ninth or 10th grade. Like that was just it. Just stop. Like I think some of us was like, well, if the world's gonna end, ain't no need for us to do this homework. Like this. This is the kind of thought process we had. So, it's something that I tell my daughter. I tell her that the next 3 or 4 years of your life is coming, whether you're ready or not, right? So, if you sitting on your ass doing nothing, then you'll still be sitting on your ass doing nothing in 3 to 4 years. If you decide to make a change, go to school, get a coach, enroll in a program, learn something, whatever, then in the next 3 to 4 years, you're gonna be the ish because you're gonna have all your stuff together. I remember talking to one of my cousins, and she was saying she wanted to go to school to be a nurse, but there were this stopping her. She was a single mom. She just had a baby, and I'm like, those things don't work on me. I'm just gonna be quite honest because I was divorced with 2 kids, one with a disability, working a part-time job, and going to school to get my master's as a nurse practitioner. I was like, and I'm living on my own. I'm not living with my mom. There's nobody else paying my bills, right? So that doesn't work for me. And I remember her getting so pissed off at me. She hadn't talked to me again to this day. Because I just told her those are just excuses. I got excuses. I can give you excuses too. Those are excuses. If you want to do something, if you really want it and it's really important, you'll do it. You'll take the time out, you'll put the energy in, you'll focus on it, and you'll get it done. But if it's not that important, you're just gonna play around and but I promise you those 3 to 4 years are gonna come. So whether you take those 3 to 4 years to go to school, whether you take it to get a coach, whether you enroll in a program, whatever you did or didn't do, those 3 to 4 years are gonna come. And in those 3 to 4 years, you could be sitting around doing what you were doing 3 to 4 years ago, still complaining. Oh, the man, he had, I got to go to work. I don't want to do this. I got to deal with traffic. I got to do this. I'm tired of this job. You could do this for 3 to 4 years. Or you can start with your business. If you don't have the money, do some DoorDash or something. Make a little extra money on the side. Take that money, invest in a business. Get some partners if you want to do some real estate and can't afford it. Get some partners. Do that. Go to some classes. Go to some courses. Do what you need to do to get where it is that you want to be. Otherwise, that's why that dream just looks like a dream that's far away that you can't seem to touch or get to. But with all the things I've been through in my life, child, anything is possible. Because I am the statistic. I am the teen mom that had my daughter at 18. And I remember my family just kind of giving me that look like, oh, she ain't going to be nothing. But guess what? I was 18 in college I remember I was at Georgia State pregnant with my daughter, sitting in college where I would go get my breakfast in the morning at the campus. I would get my grits, my eggs, my sausage, and my biscuit every morning. And I would go and sit in my class at Georgia State University pregnant. And my daughter was born in January, so I took that semester off and I went back to school for the summer semester. And I went to school, I didn't take summers off. After that, I went to school continuously for 4 years. I did it. I took one semester off to have my daughter. And I was in there. I was doing it because my thing was I can do anything for 4 years. What I can't do is be poor for the rest of my life. That just wasn't an option. Being poor is never an option for me. I don't care what I come from or whatever. That was not an option. I was going to have to do what I needed to do to get where I needed to get. So if I needed to struggle for 3 or 4 years, then I was going to struggle. I lived in the projects and everything. But I promise you, after those 4 years, I never lived in another project. After those 4 years, there were so many things I just didn't do, because I had elevated myself to the next level. And over the years, despite everything that I've gone through, I still continue to elevate myself to the next level. So I encourage you to do the same and not to wait on that promotion for that job and not to wait on someone to give you something. You go out there and you take it. You do what it is that you need to do to get where you need to get. I'm gonna give you another story. I remember I was a nurse, RN, and there was this job I wanted. It was a hospice job, and it looked like it fit my schedule perfectly. And I submitted my resume and application. I didn't get a call back. And I think I had wanted to get out the hospital or whatever because my kids were in school. So I dressed up. I went, put on my suit. I had this cute little checker blazer and the black skirt. And I printed out my resume, put it in a folder, put on my heels, and I Googled the job site and I went up there. It was in where was it? It's in Atlanta. So I went up there and I said, I'm here to see the hiring manager. Then they said, do you have an appointment? I said, no, but I need to see the hiring manager. And the lady just looked at me and she was like, okay. So the hiring manager came out. And I stood up and I'm like, hi, I'm Charisma such and such, and I'm here because I applied for your position as an RN case manager, and I'm very interested in the position. I have my resume here. And she looked at me and she was like, did I call you? I was like, no, you didn't. And she was like, okay, come back. So she interviewed me. The interview went great. And the next day I was offered a job. Her name was Karen, and she's now since passed away. But I remember her saying to me, you were never even on the radar for the job. I had so many resumes, I didn't pay any attention. She said, but the fact that you came up here, no interview, dressed to impress. She was like, that outfit was nice. It was a black woman. She was like, I love that outfit. But she said, the fact that you came up here said so much. She was like, I couldn't hire anybody else because that showed me that you were dedicated. And I stayed at that job for 4.5 years until my son got sick. That was the reason I left the job. because he was so sick I could no longer work full time. I just couldn't. It was hospice, so dealing with a child that's sick, learning he's having a disability was very difficult for me. Um, while also trying to take care of him and taking care of dying patients. I actually ended up having some panic attacks, and my doctor was just like, I couldn't go back. Um, but I just went and got what I felt like I needed and deserved. I ain't wait for nobody. I ain't have to wait for Karen to call me. I went, whatever. Because in my mind, the worst she could say was no. Like, and that wasn't gonna change my situation. If she said no, right? How did my situation change for what my situation already was? My situation was already not working there. Um, and I've done things like that many, many times in my life. And it's always worked, actually always worked in my favor. And that's why I say, like, you really have to go and reach for the stars and get what you feel like you're due. And just do what it is that you need to do to get there. Stop worrying about what other people may think, what other people may say, because it's not going to change it's not going to change anything, right? Rewrite the story that you want to have. What is it that you want to do in this world? What is it that you're called to do? Where do you want to be? Where are you called to be? Um, really just take time to your and understand and appreciate where you are, but also make a plan to get to where you want to be. Because despite what's going on in this world, as long as we make it through, 4 years will still come. It'll still be 2029. So the question becomes, is it 2029 doing what you currently do? Or is it 2029 doing what it is that you want to do? Um, yeah. And like I said, if you need some help, DM me. I work with clients that want to move abroad. Um, but I also have the Holistic Mental Health Clinic. If you need to find yourself, you need to ground yourself, you need to work on your mental. I tell people your mental, your physical, emotional, and spiritual are all connected. However, we only treat one. When you go to the doctor, we only treat one thing. Whatever that one thing is that day. We only treat the migraines, but we never find out what the cause of the migraines was, right? We keep giving you a pill for the migraines. But what's causing the migraines? There's always a cause and effect, but we're ignoring what's causing the migraines to begin with. We're ignoring the real problem. And that's one reason why I left the medical field and decided to do a more holistic approach, because we need to address the whole circle, the whole wheel, because it's all connected. So yeah, I can keep giving you pills for the migraine. I can write the prescription. I can send it over, or we can actually look at the cause of it. Why do you keep having these migraines? What is really going on in your body? Why do you keep falling into this depressive state? Why do you keep having these chronic pain issues? Hi, social efficient. Let's really get down to what's really going on so we can truly move forward and really say you're here again. So we can really move forward and we can really do what it is that we were called in this life to do. Because for me, I knew it was more than go to a job and to achieve the American dream. I knew there was more. Um, Hell, I know there still is more. Like in my life right now, I know that I still have so much more to do and so much more to give and so many more places to go and so much more to experience. Um, and I think that's important that you realize that there's so much more outside of your four walls. and and what that is. Because for some of us, we dream and we don't even know what that really is. There's people that's like, I want to leave the US, but where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? What does that life look like for you? Oh, I want to retire. Retirement is different. You got to still find things to do. I've retired from my job technically. Um, now I had to find stuff to do. It's fun initially. Now I understand why when old people retire, they go work at Walmart. Because you still have to find something to do and something to put your time and energy towards. The good thing is that something to do is normally something that makes you feel good, something that allows you to give back, something that, opens up a place in your heart, right? That you didn't realize you had when you were working 9 to 5. It helps you to find that mission and develop it. Find what really makes you move. Like for me, I really love doing real estate. It's actually very fun for me. And then my mission was to do a clinic for mental health, and to help women, primarily women of color, that around the world. That was a mission for me, and it's something that I feel very strongly about. And I don't know. It's different, because I'm still working in medical, but I'm not working for someone else. So I get to say how I want to help people. I get to do things that may seem a little unorthodox. I actually get to listen. I get to listen to my patients and talk to them and understand them and really dig deep down to find out what's really going on with them instead of having 15 minutes. And it's something that you appreciate when you're able to do something you really, really want to do. When your heart is in it, your heart and your soul is in it. It's totally different than just doing that 9 to 5. Now, I know there are some people that love their 9 to 5. Like, it is amazing. Okay, bye bye. You said you're going to sleep. I'm not sure what time zone you're in. um, but it is amazing. Oh, thank you. And say you're a gift too. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I challenge you to find out what that is for yourself. Find out what makes you happy. What makes you get up? What makes you want to leave the house? What brings you joy? Start focusing on that. And don't forget to ask why. Don't forget to ask yourself why this brings you joy. And don't forget you ask yourself why 3 times, not one or two, 3 times. That third time is the charm. That's what gets down to your real reasoning. Um, and then let's make it happen. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. I'm looking at the comments. You can DM me, and we'll talk. I know you said you work at night, so DM me, and then we'll set up a time and we can talk. Um, but yeah, so I really want you all to think about that. Um, Millionaires are made during a depression. So are babies, but that's that's a different story for another time. But Be ready for what's to come. You know, if you get anything out of this, prepare yourself. Be ready for what's to come. Find your allies and your friends. Invest, do things together. Um, and I say that I'm actually doing a real estate, starting a real estate investing group here in Kenya. We meet on Tuesday um, to talk about collective investing. You can do this wherever. You can elevate yourself wherever you are. I also want you to make sure you focus on the three things: um, who you are, where you are, and where you want to be. I want you to answer those three questions. And don't forget, when you say where you want to be, ask yourself why 3 times. Um, and if you need me, I'm just a DM away. So feel free to message me. I think I need to update my contact information on my YouTube channel. So I will take, if you don't see it, I'll definitely update the information there, because I think that information may be outdated. So for those of you in YouTube land, I'm gonna update that. Um, and I don't know, just go and do it. Is there anything anyone wants to say before I leave? I think on Facebook, I can't see the comments in real time. So I'll get back to you if you leave a comment in Facebook. Um, let's see. Any other comments or anything we want to talk about before we go? Anybody want to share any of the answers to these questions? If you want to, we can go through that. Let me see. I'm gonna look at Facebook real quick to see. Let me know. Does anybody want to share before we go? Let's see. Okay. You said I'm glad I listened this morning. Angel. Yeah, Facebook is funny. It won't let me pull up the all of the chat real time. Okay. So you are so welcome, Cole Money. I'm glad I got on and I'm glad I was able to speak with you all today. I am definitely going to try to get on a little more often. Um, and I think that's it. If, like I said, if there's anything I missed or you want to talk about, or maybe we'll even do, if you all are interested, maybe do a class or something on these 3 questions and getting down to what's going on. But we can definitely do that. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining me. Bye bye, Angela. Bye, Rochelle. Bye, Social Efficient. The Calibri Garden. Martini. For the Culture. Dream Child. Lord Michael. Malcolm. Everybody, thank you